Today we're going to talk about understanding desktops appraisals. Again, this is Brian Coester, CEO of Coester Appraisal Group. This is a shortened version of the webinar, which we did a couple days ago, and it's just really designed to give people who missed it an idea of what exactly we covered, and we're just going to kind of go through this. This is for YouTube, so it's going to have to be less than 15 minutes. Okay, so understanding desktop appraisals. Let's get right into it. What are desktop appraisals? They're a limited scope appraisal performed only using online information completed by a local licensed certified appraiser. A shorter two-page form similar to a 1004 and typically costs $100 to $150. These are used kind of a replication of a BPO, and the reason is because simply BPOs are accurate and fairly accurate, but they're not as good as an appraisal. An appraiser who provides a evaluation of a property is going to be much more accurate than a realtor or any type of AVM. Some controversy with these. Desktops are not new by any means. Some people are desktops. They're becoming more and more widely used. However, there's some resistance from appraisers, and they usually quote USPAP as saying, it's not against USPAP. You can't inspect the property. These things. This is not true at all. As long as the scope of work is defined within the report, which within the desktop it's true, it is, then you're 100% okay to do it. And really, they provide a value alternative to BPOs or other similar price product within the market. It is really a leadership product. The value of a desktop's outweigh any competitor's products that are completed by non-appraisers. Similar price point that are much more accurate become more and more widely used as lenders seek alternative appraisal products for, these are great for home equity lines of credit, for evaluation properties that are going into foreclosure. I mean, there's just tons of uses for these. Facts about BPOs, about half of all valuations ordered are BPOs. So think about all the appraisals that are done, all the properties that need appraisals and evaluations on, about half of those are broker price opinions. They're often ordered up to 6 times or more during the defaulting of a loan, from all the way to when the 90-day delinquent, all the way to the end, which they actually go take the house back. The reason they use them is price and speed. Generally speaking, the market understands that BPOs are inaccurate. However, there has not been a national alternative introduced to replace it. So it's kind of like, if we don't use this, then what are we really going to use? We think that the appraisal desktops could be that alternative. Really, here's how the market is. So you have kind of these 3 price points. So you have an AVM on the low side, least accurate, is typically $5 to $20. Full appraisal is $300 to $500. And then you have this kind of middle area where they don't really want a 1004. They don't have the money to spend that on thousands of properties. The AVM is really not accurate, but they're willing to pay a little bit of money for something fairly accurate, meaning they don't necessarily need that much information on a property. So the BPO is kind of the middle alternative, where drive-by might be a little too much. They don't need something that accurate. CMA is a little less accurate and harder to order. And so the BPO desktop appraisals are really kind of the best solution of it. This is from Mark Lene at Appraisal World, and you can clearly, see that the outside of Fannie and Freddie and FHA of the, kind of the national players within the marketplace of very specific, securitized, very standard. A bank can do anything they want to a certain extent on their 90-day delinquents as far as they provide evaluation. Whether they order a desktop, a full, a BPO, a drive-by, an AVM is really their determination factor. But appraisers could provide an alternative product that's very accurate and really does deliver good value to the market. Let me guys show you a sample desktop. Here's a sample desktop appraisal. This is one that we did for a client. You can see by the look at it, it looks very similar to like a traditional 1004, and the idea that it's, that has comps. And, if you look at it here, it's 3 comps, and it gives you the distance to the property. It gives you a chance to see the, which one is comparable, is not, concludes with the value. Typically, what we'll do is we'll provide 3 sales, 1 listing, or 3 sales, 2 listings, similar to what you do on an appraisal. We copy and paste the MLS photos of the comps, so you have an idea. And and then we also, what they look like, and then we also put a map on there to get an idea of the proximity of the comparables and stuff like that. So it's actually fairly accurate. It looks fairly similar to a full appraisal, with the limiting thing that they haven't inspected the property. That's probably the biggest factor. Getting back into about the desktops, they typically cost $100 to $150 to complete. 99% of properties are eligible for desktops. As long as it's not rural, as long as it's not waterfront, you're pretty good to go. Most can be done within 24 to 40 hours and typically take about an hour worth of work for an appraiser to complete it. And 95% of full value, meaning if we do a desktop appraisal and then do a full appraisal, which we've done, there's typically within about 95% of the value. I mean, there's a pretty accurate idea, and meets the Fed's OTS and OCC definition of obtaining a valuation on the property. And then they're much more accurate than your typical AVM or BPO. So you have all these great things that appraisers can offer, and that we offer to our clients. It's just really about getting the appraisal world to be more receptive to them. Use for desktops, some various uses. We use a lot of these for reverse mortgages, and you can go to coesterreverse.com to get an idea of to get an idea of how we use those for reverse mortgage. Great reverse mortgage program. You can use it for home equity lines of credit, due diligence from loan pools, and pricing by appraisers. Much more accurate than your BPO or other alternative products. Here's some information about our company, Coester Appraisal Group, for national appraisal management company. Give 100% guarantee on all valuations. You can check out some of our websites like reverse mortgage, coesterreverse.com, and valuesafe.com. We're a little bit different than your typical national appraisal company, as we do have staff appraisers and fee appraisers. We had a question and answer that we're going to skip. And then if you want to contact me, here's my contact information, as well as Crystal Witherspoon, who did the first webinar with us and does all of our live webinars. So thank you so much, everyone. This is Brian Coester with Understanding Desktop Appraisals. Thank you so much. You've been a great crowd.